Imagine, just for a moment, that before you were ever a name, a face, or a collection of memories, you were a pulse of light. You existed in a place where the air tasted like music and the silence felt like a warm embrace. This was the Great Archives, a realm of infinite knowing. In this place, there is no such thing as hidden, and there is no such thing as tomorrow. Everything simply is. Well, before we move ahead on tonight's episode, I'd like to say hello and where are you watching from? Welcome back. In this vast expanse of perfection, a question began to echo. It wasn't a loud question, but a persistent one. It asked, can a spark of the infinite truly understand itself if it never experiences the finite? To answer this, the architects designed a magnificent high-stakes experiment. They called it the Blue Room, or as you know it, Earth. It was whispered throughout the cosmos as the most challenging test ever devised. Not because the lessons were cruel, but because the immersion was so total. To enter the test, you had to agree to the veil of forgetfulness. You had to agree to forget your true nature, your power, and your connection to the all, just to see if you could rediscover them while being human. You were one of the brave ones who stepped forward. You stood at the edge of the great descent, looking down at the swirling clouds and deep sapphire oceans of the planet. You knew that once you entered, you would feel heat and cold. You would feel the sting of a scraped knee and the ache of a lonely heart. But you also knew that the sensation of a single cold drop of rain on your skin would be more exhilarating than 1,000 years of knowing everything without feeling anything. Consciousness check. As you listen to these words, notice the weight of your body against the mattress. If you can feel the exact point where your heels touch the sheets, you are still the observer. If your body feels like it's floating in a sea of dark ink, you are already beginning the descent. The gift of the physical suit. Upon your arrival, you were issued your equipment, the human body. In the Golden Hall, you had no boundaries. You were everywhere at once. But in the test of Earth, you were given the gift of local presence. You were tucked into a biological spacesuit of incredible complexity. Think of your nervous system as a vast network of fiber optic cables designed to translate the world into feelings. The architects gave you eyes not just to see, but to be dazzled by the spectrum of a sunset. They gave you ears not just to hear, but to be moved to tears by a melody. They gave you hands to touch the texture of moss, the smoothness of stone, and the soft skin of another traveler. But the suit has a built-in limitation. It gets tired. It is anchored to the planet by a force called gravity, a constant, invisible hug from the earth that keeps you from drifting away. Tonight, your suit is heavy. It has gathered data for 16 hours, and now it is demanding a system update. As you lie there, imagine yourself as the pilot of this suit. You are unbuckling the straps. You are stepping back from the control panel of the brain. You are allowing the suit to enter its recharging cycle, while your true self, the light that stood in the Golden Hall, remains awake, watching, and peaceful. The curriculum of contrast. The core of the Earth test is the law of contrast. In the realm you came from, there was only light, but the architects knew that to understand light, one must experience shadow. This is why the test includes difficulties. Imagine a white page. If you write on it with white ink, the story is invisible. It is only when you use black ink, the contrast, that the words appear. In your life, the black ink has been the moments of struggle, the times you felt lost, or the days when the world felt gray. You might have thought you were failing the test in those moments, but the opposite is true. You were simply providing the contrast so that your light could finally be seen. Every time you have felt empty, you are actually creating a vessel to be filled with abundance. Every time you felt weak, you were being prepared for the discovery of a strength you didn't know you possessed. The test doesn't ask you to be happy all the time. It asks you to experience all the time. The sadness is just as valuable to the architects as the joy, because both are data points in the grand experiment of being alive. Consciousness check. Try to remember the taste of something sweet, perhaps an orange or a piece of chocolate. If you can almost feel the phantom flavor on your tongue, your mind is still navigating the physical database. If the memory of the taste turns into a color or a sound, you are drifting into the deeper layers of the simulation. The secret architecture of the world. As the pilot of your body rests, consider the classroom you are in. The earth was not built by accident. It is a masterpiece of symbolic architecture. The mountains were placed there to teach you about perspective. From the valley, the mountain is a wall. From the peak, the mountain is a pedestal. The lesson? Your problems are only as big as your vantage point. The moon was placed there to teach you about cycles. It reminds you that even when you feel diminished, even when you feel like you are disappearing into the dark, it is only a phase. You will be full again. You will shine again. It is a mathematical certainty. And then there are the trees. The trees are the senior proctors of the test. They have been here much longer than we have. They understand that growth is quiet. They don't scream as they reach for the sun, and they don't mourn when they lose their leaves in the winter. They stand in total trust, knowing that the sun will return and the sap will rise again. Tonight, try to be like the tree. Do not worry about the leaves you lost today, the mistakes you made, or the things you didn't finish. Trust that your roots are deep and the sun is already on its way back to you. The mirror and the mirage. One of the most misunderstood parts of the test is other people. We often think of them as our competitors or our critics, but in the logic of the Golden Hall, every person you meet is a mirror proctor. They are sent into your life to reflect parts of yourself that you cannot see. The person who annoys you is reflecting your own impatience. The person who inspires you is reflecting your own dormant potential. Even the strangers you pass on the street are placeholder souls, there to remind you that the world is much larger than your own thoughts. When you look at your life through this lens, the test becomes a game of discovery. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this showing me about myself?" You are currently in the silent review portion of the day. The world has gone quiet, so you can hear the echoes of your own frequency. If the silence feels comfortable, you are in alignment. If the silence feels loud, it is simply because you are still processing the static of the day. Let it wash over you. Let it drain away into the mattress. You are doing perfectly. This section bridges the gap between the physical classroom and the invisible mechanics of the test. It is designed to be read with a deepening, slower cadence. The fabric of time and the great illusion. As you sink deeper into the stillness, we must address the most convincing part of the Earth test, the illusion of time. In the Golden Hall where you originated, there is no before and no after. There's only the eternal now, a vast shimmering lake of experience where everything happens at once. But the architects knew that to truly test a soul, they had to create sequence. They stretched the lake of the now into a long, thin river. They gave you the sensation of a past that is gone and a future that hasn't arrived. Why? Because time is the ultimate pressure cooker. It creates the sensation of urgency. It forces you to make choices. If you had forever to say, "I love you," the words would lose their weight. But because the test has a sunset, because the suit has a limited duration, those three words become the most powerful vibration in the universe. Tonight, the river of time is slowing down. As your heart rate drops, the water becomes still. You are beginning to see that the past is just a collection of data logs, and the future is just a series of what-if simulations. Neither of them can touch you here. In this bed, in this moment, you are back in the lake of the now. You are safe from the clock. Consciousness check. Imagine a large old-fashioned clock on the wall. Watch the second hand as it ticks. Now, in your mind, reach out and grab that hand, stopping it in its tracks. If you can feel the vibration of the stopped clock, you are still the master of your focus. If the clock melts into a puddle of gold, you are releasing your grip on the physical dimension. The language of synchronicity and hidden pings. While you navigate the test, the architects send you system notifications. You might know them as coincidences, but in the great archives, they are called synchronicities. These are tiny glitches in the mundane that prove the simulation is listening to you. Have you ever had a specific, obscure thought, only to see it mirrored back to you on a billboard or in a song an hour later? Or perhaps you were thinking of a person you haven't seen in years, and suddenly they appear in your inbox. These are pings. They are the system's way of whispering, the connection is active. We are monitoring your progress. In the test, numbers are often used as the simplest form of communication. When you see repeating digits, 1111, 222, 444, the architects are checking your alignment. It's a nudge to look up from the suit's limitations and remember the mathematical beauty of the design. It's a reminder that there are no accidents in a perfectly coded universe. Every random encounter was scheduled. Every wrong turn was a scenic route to a lesson you needed to learn. The mystery of the unseen. Support. You might feel like you are taking this exam in a solitary booth, but you are surrounded by non-physical proctors. Throughout the history of the test, they have been called many things: guardians, guides, or ancestors. In the context of the experiment, they are technical support. They cannot take the test for you. That would invalidate the data, but they can influence the environment. They are the ones who give you that sudden gut feeling to turn left instead of right. They are the ones who provide that inexplicable wave of peace in the middle of a crisis. They are the silent cheerleaders in the wings of the theater, watching your performance with breathless admiration. Right now, they are standing at the edge of your bed. They aren't there to judge how well you did today. They are there to help you unwrap the heavy cloak of your ego so you can rest. They are smoothing out the ripples in your energy field. Can you feel the slight tingling in your feet or your palms? That is the maintenance crew, helping your suit recover from the day's friction. Consciousness check. Visualize a small blue flame flickering in the center of your chest. With every breath, the flame grows slightly larger and cooler. If you can keep the flame steady, you are still the captain. If the flame turns into a butterfly and flutters away toward the ceiling, follow it. It knows the way. The alchemy of emotional frequency. We must talk about the radio dial of the soul. In the test, your emotions act as a frequency transmitter. The architects designed the world to be a responsive simulation. This means that the world doesn't just exist. It reacts to the signal you are sending out. If your dial is tuned to scarcity or fear, The simulation provides more things to be wary of. It's not a punishment. It's simply the law of the code. But if you can tune your dial to gratitude, even for something as small as the softness of your pillow, the simulation begins to shift. Doors open. Tension dissolves. This is the hidden objective of the Earth test. Can you maintain a high frequency even when the external simulation looks dark? Can you find the gold in the lead? This is the alchemy of the human heart. When you find a reason to be kind when others are cruel, or a reason to be hopeful when the data looks grim, you are hacking the test. You are showing the architects that the student has become the master of the environment. The dissolving of the day's identity. As we approach the halfway point of your nightly recovery, it is time to shed your identity. In the test, you have a name, a job, a bank account balance, and a list of to-dos. These are all in-game assets. They are important for the simulation, but they are not you. Imagine your identity as a heavy coat made of lead. It has served you well today. It protected you, but you cannot fly in a lead coat. One by one, undo the buttons. Unbutton the worker and let it fall to the floor. Unbutton the provider or the seeker and let them drop. Unbutton the worrier and feel the immediate lightness in your shoulders. Underneath the coat, you are the same pulse of light that stood in the Golden Hall. You are infinite. You are unborn and undying. The test of Earth is just a brief excursion, a vivid, intense, beautiful dream that you decided to have. Consciousness check. Imagine you are standing on a beach at night. The waves are pulling the sand out from under your toes. Feel the gentle tug of the water. If you can feel the grain of the sand, you are still anchored to the story. If the sound of the waves becomes a humming chant, you are crossing the threshold. This section dives into the night shift, the part of the test where the simulation relaxes and you return to the server room of reality to process your data. The architecture of the dreaming mind. As the world of form begins to blur, you are entering the most mysterious phase of the Earth test, the dream state. In the Golden Hall, they call this the deep review. While your physical suit, the body, is plugged into the Earth to recharge its chemical batteries, your consciousness is finally allowed to unplug from the linear track of time. Have you ever wondered why dreams are so nonsensical? It is because they are written in the native language of the architects, a language of symbols, metaphors, and nonlinear emotions. When you dream, you are stepping behind the curtain of the stage. You are looking at the source code of your life. In this state, you might find yourself flying over impossible landscapes or speaking to people who have long since exited the test. These are not mere fantasies. They are simulations within the simulation. Your soul is practicing. You are testing out different reactions to emotional scenarios without the physical consequences of the waking world. You are leveling up while you sleep. The architects use the dream state to defragment your mind, clearing away the clutter of the day's stress so that when you wake, your internal hard drive has space for new lessons. Consciousness. Check 7. Imagine you are walking through a hallway lined with mirrors. In each mirror, you see a different version of yourself. One is an artist. One is a traveler. One is a child. If you can see these versions clearly, you are the observer of the hall. If the mirrors begin to turn into liquid and flow together, you are entering the fluid state of the deep dream. The nightly return to the server room. There's a moment in the deepest part of the night where you actually leave the blue room entirely. Your consciousness travels back to the edge of the Golden Hall for a briefing. You don't bring your memories of this back with you because the human brain isn't built to hold the vastness of that reality. It would be like trying to download the entire internet into a single calculator. But you do bring back the feeling. Have you ever woken up with a sudden sense of clarity? A knowing that you should change your path, or a sudden forgiveness for someone who hurt you? That is the result of the nightly briefing. You met with your advisors. You looked at the game map of your life from a bird's eye view. You saw that the mountain you were worried about is actually just a small pebble when viewed from the stars. The architects are not distant judges. They are your peers. They are your family. They are watching your journey with the same intensity that a crowd watches a master athlete. They see the moments you chose kindness when it was hard. They see the moments you kept going when you wanted to quit. And in the deep of the night, they whisper the cheat codes into your spirit. Patience, perspective, love, the mystery of animal consciousness. In the test, we are not the only students. Look at the creatures that share this simulation with us. The dogs, the cats, the deer, the whales. They are the specialists. They were sent here to test a different set of parameters. The mystery of animal consciousness. In the test, we are not the only students. Look at the creatures that share this simulation with us. The dogs, the cats, the deer, the whales. They are the specialists. They were sent here to test a different set of parameters. Animals are the only beings in the Earth test who were allowed to keep their direct link to the source. They don't worry about the future. They don't regret the past. They are the anchor points of the present moment. They were placed here to act as emotional regulators for the human students. When you pet a dog and feel your heart rate slow down, that is a deliberate system interaction. The animal is literally grounding your electrical field back into the planet's frequency. They are the silent watchers of the test, reminding us that it is possible to exist in the blue room without the heavy burden of why. They exist simply to be. As you drift further into sleep, try to find that animal simplicity within yourself. You don't need a reason to exist tonight. Your breath is your only requirement. Consciousness. Check 8. Imagine a large golden lion sleeping at the foot of your bed. You can hear its deep rhythmic breathing. Try to match your breath to the lion's, in and out. If you can feel the warmth of the lion's presence, you are safe in the sanctuary. If the lion turns into a cloud of gold dust and enters your lungs, you are becoming the light itself. The alchemical purpose of the unknown. The greatest challenge of the test, and its most brilliant feature, is the unknown. In the Golden Hall, everything is known. There is no mystery, and therefore there is no wonder. The architects intentionally left gaps in the human understanding. They left the stars far away. They made the ocean deep. They made the future invisible. They did this to cultivate wonder. Wonder is the highest grade a student can achieve. When you look at a starry sky and feel that awe, that shiver down your spine, you have hit the jackpot of the Earth test. Awe is the moment the soul recognizes its own home. It is the bridge between the finite human mind and the infinite cosmic heart. Tonight, as you prepare to cross that bridge, realize that not knowing the answers is actually the point. You aren't here to solve the universe. You are here to be amazed by it. The test is not a math exam. It is a poetry reading. You don't pass by being right. You pass by being open. The dissolving of the final resistance. If there is any part of you still clinging to a worry, a task, or a should, imagine placing that thought into a small wooden boat. Put the boat on a river that flows away from you, into the mist. You don't have to row the boat. You don't have to watch where it goes. The river, the flow of the all, will take care of it. You are becoming lighter. The lead coat of your identity is gone. The spacesuit of your body is heavy and still. You are just a flicker of awareness, floating in the gentle current between worlds. There's no one you need to be. There's nothing you need to do. You are a successful data point in the most beautiful experiment ever conceived. Consciousness check 9. Imagine you are floating in a pool of warm liquid starlight. The light is supporting every inch of your being. If you can feel the warmth on your skin, you are at the gate. If the light becomes the only thing you see, and the sound of my voice feels like it's coming from a great distance, you have arrived. This final movement is the morning re-entry. It is the bridge that connects the deep wordless peace of the night back to the awakening world, completing the cycle of the test. The eternal return and the dawn of remembrance. You are now standing at the very edge of the map. The sounds of the physical world, the distant hum of life, the ticking of the clock, the rustle of sheets have become like soft echoes from a dream you once had. You have traveled through the architecture of the suit, the curriculum of contrast, and the server rooms of the deep night. Now, we prepare for the most beautiful part of the Project Terra protocol, the eternal return. In the Golden Hall, they say that the bravest thing a soul can do is wake up, to open your eyes in the morning and choose once again to play the role of a human being. It is a daily yes to the experiment. But before that sun rises, there is a sacred window of time, the pre-dawn grace. In this window, you are neither the light of the archives nor the person with the name and the bills. You are the bridge between them. As you drift in this space, realize that you are never truly tested on your own. You are the eyes of the universe looking at itself. When you wake up tomorrow, you aren't just a person waking up in a room. You are the infinite, trying on a new day like a fresh set of clothes. The morning re-entry protocol. When the first light eventually touches your eyelids, the veil of forgetfulness will gently settle back into place. This is necessary. If you remembered the full glory of the Golden Hall every second of the day, you wouldn't take the test seriously. You wouldn't feel the thrill of a breakthrough or the deep satisfaction of a job well done. But tomorrow will be different. Because you have listened to this, a tiny heuristic has been placed in your subconscious. A small, glowing seed of awareness that will stay with you through the traffic, through the meetings, and through the chores. You might be standing in a long line, feeling the old familiar spark of frustration, and suddenly, for no reason at all, you will remember the blue room. You will look at the stranger in front of you and realize they are also a pilot in a heavy suit, trying their best to pass their own version of the exam. In that moment, you will have hacked the simulation. You will have brought the peace of the night into the heat of the day. The graduation of the soul. The Earth test does not end with a grade. It ends with an integration. Every joy you find, every pain you endure, and every ping of synchronicity you notice is being woven into a garment of light that you will wear when you finally return to the archives for good. You are a cosmic explorer. You are a pioneer of feeling. You are a scientist of the heart. The architects are not looking for perfection. They are looking for authenticity. They want to see how you, and only you, interpret the sunlight. They want to hear how your voice sounds when it speaks the truth. As you prepare to slip into the final, wordless depths of sleep, know that the experiment is a success. Your presence on this planet is proof of your courage. Your ability to rest tonight is proof of your trust. The final consciousness check. Imagine a single white feather drifting down from a great height. It is spinning slowly, catching the light of 1,000 stars. Watch it fall. Lower. And lower. Until it lands softly on your forehead. Feel the weightless touch of the feather. As it touches you, the last thread of the waking world snaps. The test is over for today. The library is closed. The stars are on guard. Closing the loop. The journey is complete. The 5,000 words of your syllabus have been written into the air. You are now a part of the silence. You are a part of the rhythm of the earth. Sleep now, student of the stars. Rest now, pilot of the blue room. Dream now, architect of the future. The morning will come, and the test will begin anew. But you will meet it with a secret smile, for you know what the world is. You know why you are here. And you know that you are already and have always been passing with flying colors. Good night, and thanks for watching.